Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome, you're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? I want to balance out all that bad news out there, and it is all bad news, with some good news, good people, good topics, and good series. And you'll know it is Wednesday today because we have doctors in the house with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And you do know her as a OBGyn, Navy veteran, children's book author, poetry author, singer, songwriter. I'm doing this from, see how good my memory is today. Best peach cobbler maker, and my co-host on Wednesdays for Doctors in the House. And she's running for Congress, and she'll tell you more about that at the break. Please welcome back to my studio, Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
Always a pleasure to be here, and happy Wednesday.
Happy No Hump Day. I am going to start with what we usually do at the top of the show, which is breakfast with me and my co-host today. Top of the bun, things that we're grateful for outside of ourselves. So we look around, what physically we're grateful for. Bottom of the bun, because it's not Friday. I can't say that. Bottom of the bun is things that we're grateful for when we look inside of ourselves. And we want you to do that before you go to bed tonight so that you get a good night's sleep instead of thinking about all the things you've done wrong or who done you wrong. You're going to think about all those things that you're good at and what you like about yourself. So, Dr. Tiffanie, let's start at the top of the bun. What are you grateful for this beautiful Wednesday morning?
Well, I had the opportunity to travel to DC and attend the American Medical Association campaign school. So I am a graduate of campaign school for physicians who are running for political office. So yay me. So I feel that much better, more equipped, and more ready to go and advocate for the things that people care about.
I didn't know there was a school like that. That is so cool. Very, very cool. I am grateful that I continue to discover things that are available and maybe I didn't notice when I was jet setting. Now that I'm not jet setting, and continuing to move through the loss on one hand of things that I used to be able to do, and discovering what I still can and new things to do on this side. So I'm grateful for that.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I am also grateful that I have received another endorsement for my campaign. I'm always grateful for things like that. So I am just motivated and encouraged because to have an impact on the world and to support people is a positive thing for me. And that's what I want to do at this stage of my life.
Awesome. I'm grateful that I found a new Mahjong group where not only did I get to play Mahjong, there was karaoke after. So hello two of my favorite things, replacing sailboat racing and flying with mahjong and karaoke. Grateful for that.
Oh, absolutely. And I actually had a chance to go to the local American Legion because I am a member of the American Legion, and I sang karaoke. I sang one of Whitney Houston's songs, and they were like, "Oh my, that was so great." And you'll have to come and do karaoke with me and maybe one of the
Yeah.
local American Legions, and we will definitely have a good time. Usually they roll through and you sing 2 songs, and we had a good time. They were like, "You have to come back." But of course, I was in DC. But it was a fabulous time.
Yeah. What was I? I was just about to say something and now I forgot. Oh yeah. What song did you sing?
I actually sang her song. Let's see, which one was that? It was
Don't tell me it was "I Will Always Love You."
no, it was
Oh, okay. Because that's the one I said. I was going to say that would be too weird,
no,
but I wouldn't put it past us.
no. I know that that's your favorite Whitney song. But no, it was Where Do Broken Hearts Go?
Where do broken hearts go? I love that song. I'll have to put that on my list. And I want to just give the name to the group that I got to play with singing "I'll Always Love You." They actually put it in their reel. You could hardly see me because it was dark, but I made the reel. It's LA Mahjong League. And so that's another one. I think I told you about East Never Loses the week before. So I certainly am discovering all the things that LA I never realized. So I'm grateful for that. And I won a comedy competition on Monday for my stand-up. So I'm grateful for that. As I continue this, instead of a motivational speaker being funny, I wanted to try stand up and motivate. So there you go. One more.
And I am actually grateful that I made it home safely because when I was out there, there was a lot of issues, I might say, because of so much going on politically. And my friends were calling and saying, "Tiffanie, are you okay? Are you okay?" Because there was a bomb threat at one of the headquarters, like the Democratic headquarters. But I wasn't there. I was actually at the American Medical Association building. And so we were a few blocks away from Capitol Hill. And of course, I visit Capitol Hill. But there was so much going on with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, bless his family. And then there was the 3 students who were shot at the university, no, at a high school as well. And so there was just so many issues going on. And I think we as Americans, we really need to understand that we need peace and we need understanding, and no one should be shot based on their political issues. But people were concerned about my safety, and I'm just thankful to make it wherever I need to be and have traveling grace and mercy. And I'm thankful for God's grace and mercy.
Yeah, absolutely. I am grateful for my 2 girls. My older one just had a birthday, and it's always nice to recognize. I think one of the best gifts in my life is being a mom. And I so am, and I know you agree with me. So I'm going to be grateful. I don't always say that, so I'm going to say that now. You say that more than I do, so I'm going to catch up. Let's go to the bottom of the bun. That is gratitude for things that are inside of yourself. What do you like about yourself so you're not walking around looking for love in all the wrong places and looking for people who like you? Literally these days on social media, I want you to like yourself. So what do you like about yourself, Dr. Tiffanie?
I like the fact that I am a veteran. And I don't think I've ever said that I like the fact that I am a veteran. And I think for a lot of times I take for granted that I've served my country. And I figured, okay, a lot of people do service, a lot of people volunteer, but a lot of people have not served our country. And a lot of people are like, oh, I love America and I say my Pledge of Allegiance, but a lot of people have not joined the military. And I think serving the country in various ways is good. And I do volunteer in various organizations, but it takes a lot to be a veteran and to get up and say, I'm willing to make the sacrifice and join the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard. And I want to take a special moment to say a shout out to all my fellow veterans because yes, I love you, I support you, and I am Dr. Tiffanie Tate, and I approve this message.
Absolutely. And that is certainly always something to recognize. Someone gave you the finger on that note, not that one, but this one, which is always good. I see eyeballs in the studio. Love having you participate. If you'd like to make a comment, please do put it in the chat. We are live today. Please do not put it in the chat if you're driving. Be safe. Get wherever you're going, and then join us on the chat. But yes, everyone knows I'm a huge advocate for peace, not for war. At the same time, I appreciate those who currently are serving or have served. Just because I want peace and I'm not a big fan of war doesn't mean that those people have not dedicated their lives in service to protect whatever, we think we need to protect. And don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So I absolutely acknowledge, and let's give a little love to all those who have served our country, past, present, and future. There you go. That was for you too. You're welcome. I'll close out. What I like about myself is that I am totally allowing myself to move through everything I need to move through. In this time, I went back. I didn't tell you yet, Dr. Tiffanie, I went back to the hematologist. We did a battery of 16 tests to find out if my blood clots were related to me, extra or lack of proteins, enzymes, genetics. And for the first time in my life, I was hoping that I got a positive result because then it would not be blamed on the airplane and flying. Unfortunately, I was normal first time on all of the tests, and therefore it is the flying, and therefore I had to really, that glimmer of hope that I had is now extinguished. And people say, well, you should be able to fly, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yes, I will be able to fly, but every single flight carries a risk. And there's nothing I can do about that unless I time traveled before 1996 December, when they found the first blood clot and the pulmonary embolism when the piece broke off, and then the second clot this past June. So, sure, I can say, fork you, I'm going to fly anyways, but, that's pretty selfish for my children who don't want me to take risks. And, that's what I'm really grappling with now. And 80% of the time I'm good. 20% of the time I'm not good. And I'm extremely feeling the pain that comes with that. But I've also learned that I cannot cry more than once a day because the makeup is expensive. So it's been, but it's great. Like, I know who I can be fully, whether it's being angry about it, which is rare. First time I allowed myself to be pissed offness about it yesterday. But I've been sad about it quite a bit. But, I appreciate my ability to sit with things, not do a spiritual bypass, not marinate it in it and sit on a pity pot more than an hour, I think, 44 minutes. I'd like to bring that down to 16 seconds, but right now it's too fresh, so I'm just grateful I have great doctors, and Dr. Ashar is amazing, and his staff, he goes, can you fly like just nationally or not internationally? I'm like, thank you, but no. The idea of, sorry if you're from the Midwest listening, but doing a book signing in Ireland is immensely more interesting to me. And it is the death of the tour. I will not ever be able to do the way I had the tour lined up for the next 6 months with a different country I will never be able to do that. And for that, I'm grieving. And
we won't say never. Maybe medical research may change.
This is where I know you all say this because you love me and you want me to not have
be optimistic.
No hope. But let me be very clear. And I have a lot more compassion for people. This isn't like something like a tumor where you can pray for a healing, a miraculous, and I believe in that. But the only way to wipe away the chance of the risk is to go back in time and not have had that happen. There's nothing that can be done to guarantee no risk. So I wish people could understand that part of it and not keep telling me it's just for right now, because it is not something you can take away.
Oh, absolutely. I get it. As a physician, I'm just saying that medical technology change, and sometimes treatment options change. And what they can offer you right now might be different in 5 or 10 years.
But the only way to test out whether I can fly and not develop a clot is to take the risk to fly and then see what happens. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the risk will never be zero.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's true. The risk will never be zero.
And that is what I'm dealing with. And so when I wish people would just, like, I had one friend, she got it and she looked at me, located, and she said, of all the people to be told you cannot fly without risk, that loves to travel, that loves to fly. How many people do you know have video of sitting in the pilot seat on multiple airlines? People ask me, how did you do that? I said, I don't know, I just asked. But I love flying. It is a miracle. It doesn't get old. I say that for years, decades. So to have that be the reality, please allow me to be one with that loss. I know people don't like me being, I don't like seeing people in pain myself. However, it's so important, and this is what I teach. I have to move through the reality of the pain safely without being told, don't say that.
No, you have to grieve. You need to grieve. You need to grieve in your own way. So
thank you.
You need space for that. And people should allow you to have your space for that.
Thank you. All right. Now that I've used my own show to process through, but it's good. I actually had someone say, it's really good to watch you practice what you teach, moving through things, knowing that your life isn't a fairy tale. as it sometimes looks like, right, on social media. So one more thing that you like about yourself, Dr. Tiffanie, bottom of the bottom.
Well, I actually like my voice, and I was actually complimented on my voice when I was attending the campaign school at the American Medical Association course. And it was my speaking voice, not my singing voice, which
Ah,
I thought was very interesting because I've never really paid attention to my voice. And they would record us and have us listen back to our and I
whoa.
don't really watch our show, so I don't necessarily hear myself speak, and it was pretty interesting to hear me speak. So I thought that was nice.
Nice. That's so cool. That's so cool. All right. And that's it for breakfast. Thank you so much for joining us today, every weekday morning on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind, home to the Asian Oprah, #1 Talk Me ID. Thank you very much. You will have a chance to practice this good life habit, #discipline, waking up every single morning, not doing this MS meaningless scrolling, instead having breakfast with me and whoever the co-host is on the spot. And it is Wednesday, and this is Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
thank you for joining us for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day.
Hey, you! Hey! Hey, you!
What is it, Dr. Tiffanie?
Mistakes.
Yes, I've only made one mistake in my life.
I don't know if I want to ask what that is.
The one I just did. The one I just did. I fibbed. I missed that take just now. Why are we talking about mistakes today, Dr. Tiffanie?
Well, I think a lot of people have had issues in life. And I have interacted with a lot of people who have had issues in life. And I always say that denial is not just a river in Egypt. And they don't want to admit to their mistakes. And I was like, how often do we as humans have mistakes? I know I make mistakes, and I'm readily and willing to own up to my mistakes. And then I was thinking, well, how often do we make mistakes? And what is a mistake? And I just figured, well, let's just take this issue, smack it, flip it up, rub it down, delve into this, and go for it.
I keep wanting to learn that, but I know if as soon as I learn it, I'm gonna not be able to continue with whatever we're talking about. So I'm just gonna let you say it and get a tickle out of that. But that's definitely a straight talk Friday conversation. All right. So what happens when you talk about mistakes? I think of a couple of things. One is I also don't like making mistakes. One, because I hate saying sorry. Two, because it usually means I'm going to be humiliated in some way, right? Pointed out for doing something wrong. Third, I grew up in a home where if you made a mistake, you were there was horrible consequences for it, physical implications, mental, emotional implications. So I've tried to live a mistake-free life, which is ridiculous. And it also leads to, if you do make a mistake, the most important thing is not to admit it, is to hide it. So either defending yourself or pretending you weren't there or whatever it is. So yeah, great topic, Dr. Tiffanie, to pick. It is certainly tied into our ability to be happy or not happy. And the mistake zone, I think, is unhappy making.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. The first thing, well, I learned a lot about mistakes. And so it says that on average, there are various numbers. It says the estimates suggest that there are about 3 to 6 errors per hour in some people.
See, sirens mean that's the truth. So there you go. Say that statistic one more time.
3 to 6 per hour. Okay.
By who? Yourself?
In general. So some people make 3 to 6 errors per hour. So there's no specific number, but the average person makes about 3 to 6 per hour, and then about 40 to 80 errors per day. So it varies per individual based on their distractions, fatigue, and different things. And so it's like, okay, so what is this? It's a wrong action, faulty judgment, differences in understanding, faulty reasoning, or just carelessness, insufficient knowledge. And a lot of times, whether if you're gambling, you back the wrong horse, you vote for the wrong person, you do something, or you love the wrong person, you end up in a faulty relationship, just miscommunication, unintended friendships, just unwanted outcomes, a bad investment where you money. We do different things. And sometimes we just bury our head in the sand and we just say, okay, I don't want to know about it. I'm just going to forget about it. But denial is not necessarily the best thing to do. We don't want to admit to our mistakes. It's okay to say I made a mistake because we can own up to it, because that's the best way to fix it. And I learned that there are 4 different types of mistakes.
Wow. Okay.
Did you know that?
Nope, didn't know that.
I learned something new.
That's bigger, catastrophic.
Right. So they were like the stretch mistake. I was like, what is a stretch mistake? I never heard of that. The stretch mistake is considered a positive mistake. And it's one in which a student will likely find themselves making throughout their entire education. So it's like, oh, okay, I made a mistake, but I'm going to use it to grow. And then there's the aha moment mistake, where it's like you make a mistake and you're like, oh, aha, and you figure something out. And then there is the sloppy mistake. And I'm like, a sloppy mistake. And then there is the high stakes mistake. And I'm like, a high stakes mistake. And these cost you a big issue, a lot of money, and maybe a big investment, or a significant problem in your relationship. So these are greater issues, and it just costs you more. I was just like, oh, I never really divided mistakes. I just figured a mistake was a mistake. What's your take?
Yeah, really interesting to divide it and look at like that. I'm reminded of a couple of things. One, I got to share a stage with John Cleese when I was in Philadelphia, and he said mistakes, it's really good. His premise was, in order to be creative, the more mistakes you make are better, but make sure you don't do huge mistakes like spell rabbit with 3 M's or start a land war in Asia. Those were his, examples of like, that's just plain stupid. But other mistakes, and I'm pretty sure it was him that gave the story of Gordon the guided missile. And if Gordon didn't make mistakes, he would never get to his destination. And if you think about how we learn, that's the student one I'm thinking that you're talking about, is, if I'm going from point A to point B, I have to start somewhere. And if I start going and I ask, how am I doing? Well, you're not pointed in the correct direction to hit that target. Adjust. So that's a mistake, right? You're headed in the not correct, accurate straight line. So you make a correction and then you ask, how am I doing? And well, you kind of overshot, you made another mistake. So you adjust again. And that is life, folks. We're not going to get it right out of the gate. That's that 10,000 hours of learning something to get it right. And some things you don't need 10,000 hours, but if you never, what's that saying? You will never achieve the things that you don't even try, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's that saying? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Well,
I'll look
I
it up.
would say you lose 100% of the races that you never run.
That's it. There's other versions of that, but yeah, exactly. So that's what comes to mind is really mistakes are a good thing. That's why I call them missed takes, right? You missed that take, and that means you have more information to make the next take. You have to miss the take in order to self-correct into the path that is the most helpful. Not right or wrong, but the most helpful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to try.
Yeah. So what kind of mistakes have you made or I made? I will, before we go on break, I'll admit, because the first half of the show is we keep it real. We put the moose on the table, which is my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room. And I've got a friend now from Canada that I got him. He's got a parachute so he doesn't hurt himself when there's a moose drop. So I had lost in now those categories. So the first category was the student learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I was a professor, the very first time I tried to be a professor, it was horrible. And out of 17 professors at Boston University in Brussels, I was ranked second last. And I wanted to say, I can't do everything well, so teaching is not my gig. And Dr. Willem Salem said to me, the director, here's feedback, right, from the course. Read it, process it, come back and teach next semester. If you still feel like you don't want to teach, fine, but I'm not going to let you quit now. And I did. I took all of the very difficult feedback. It was not pretty, but I was insecure. I was I was young, youngest professor. So I, made a lot of mistakes and came back, taught the next one. I was the second highest ranking of all the professors. So that's a good example of, I think, what you're talking about for the first category.
I think my mistake, I can't say it was a true mistake. I guess it was an aha moment mistake. My very first C-section when I was at Vanderbilt, I was the senior running the board. And I remember I was slow. I was really slow doing my C-section because I wanted to be very, very safe. And it wasn't an emergency C-section. And he was, my attending was very domineering. And he was like, I hope it wasn't going to take all day. I looked up at him, I was like, me too. That was like an aha moment. I was like, I probably shouldn't have said that.
I think that's great. I think that was a perfect response.
And so, but I went very slow. And of course, mom and baby, they did great. But it was like I was very meticulous and mom and baby did excellent. But fast forward to when I was a chief resident, running the board, running labor and delivery, we actually had an emergency cesarean section with a prolapsed cord. And that's when the cord is protruding out and the nurse has to stick her hand up and hold the baby, hold the cord up. And she's on the table rushing through labor and delivery with mom and her hand up inside the mom. And the attending is running back with the mom and the baby, and I'm meeting them in the operating room. And I delivered the baby from the time of the incision to time of delivery within 1 minute of each other. So fast forward from that time to that time, I think that was like my aha moment. So you fast forward from that second year to that chief year, I turned that mistake of going super slow to going super fast. And my attending at that time, different attending, was like, oh my goodness, Tiffany, that was like one of the fastest C-sections I've seen by a resident ever. And I think that was a great thing. And I still remember that because I was like, oh, I felt vindicated. I still feel vindicated, as you can see.
Absolutely. All right. And that is it for the first half of the show. We do have to take a quick break for news, weather, traffic on my NBC News radio channel, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, the station that leaves no listener behind, home to the Asian Oprah and number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. Don't go away. We'll be right back in 2 and 2, or as I say, peace in and peace out. We'll be right back.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
Hello, my name is Dr. Tiffanie Tate. I was not always a physician. Prior to that, I was just like you, working in the community. I was a courtesy clerk at Lucky's Supermarket, saying paper or plastic. I know what it means to struggle, and I know what it means to try to make ends meet. I know it's hard right now in the economy. Elect a real person. I am not a politician, but I understand how politics works. I understand how policy works. I've been to the state capitol and I've lobbied on lobbied for policy on Capitol Hill here in California. Visit my website at Dr. Tate for Congress. I am a veteran officer of the United States Navy. I understand American values and I support them. I am a physician. I understand healthcare policy and I'm willing to advocate for you. I am a mother and I will fight for our children. Vote for me. Make a donation to my campaign at Dr. Tate for Congress. That is DrTateForCongress.com. If you want real change on Capitol Hill, support me, DrTateForCongress.com. Help me make a difference for you and your family. My name is Dr. Tiffanie Tate, and I approve this message.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course my YouTube TV channel, where if you free subscribe, give me the finger, this one, not the other one. You will get an alert every weekday morning, because I'm on every weekday morning for a show about more hope and happiness, and co-hosts who share that vision, my Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. And today, you know it's Wednesday because it's Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And we are talking about I didn't make a mistake. I don't know what you're talking about. I swept that under the carpet so well that you won't ever see it. And it's this, who did it?
I hid those bones in the closet. You don't want to see those files, do you? Oh, files?
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. Dr. Tiffanie has brought us great statistics as usual, research, 3 to 5 mistakes per minute. And how many
per hour? Not per minute, per hour.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, not per minute.
Oh. See where I go?
Well, that
per hour. I'm an overachiever. What can I say?
That was not a mistake, people. That was a mistake.
That was a mistake. That was a mistake. That was a non-Freudian slip. That was an overachieving slip.
But when we look at what causes mistakes, there are some different causes, and they say sometimes it can happen from faulty judgment, and we can act on our incorrect beliefs or misjudging a situation. And I know that sometimes I have misjudged a situation. I am guilty. I will say that I can say if I've been guilty of that, because I have misread a situation before. I don't know if you've misread a situation.
Never.
And so it could be between friends. It could be between people in general. If you've walked into a room and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I'm feeling this. Maybe I should go somewhere else. And sometimes we let our feelings get the best of us because our feelings can mislead us. And so we have to let practicality kick in sometimes, because sometimes inadequate knowledge can also lead to mistakes. Lacking the necessary information to make a correct decision, because information is great and information is key. And we need information a lot of times to help us proceed. And sometimes just carelessness, because we glossed over things or we didn't get it and we lacked the focus. You know how we were talking about focus before, or oversight. Those things are really key. Or just general misunderstanding. A lot of times we don't communicate well, and communication is key. Communication is key in relationships, whether it is romantic or platonic or just general friendship. If you don't have communication, you really don't have anything.
Yep. Mistakes are also very, very easy to make if you are a perfectionist. And if you are a Newtonian thinker, because you think there's only one right way or one way, and if it's not your way, everybody else is wrong. Sound familiar? This is a very American quality. When we do studies, Hofstede, I taught a course on cultural differences. And Hofstede did this study and measured different cultures based on, individualization and the way they solve problems. Certainly independent and Newtonian, right, wrong, good, bad, what category does it go into, is an American. And on one end, it's good because you're decisive. On the other end, you get in a lot of trouble because there sometimes are, you're right, and I'm right. And the best example I can give you of this, I'm sure you saw this in your 101 psych class. Mm-hmm. This is the old woman, young woman. Dr. Tiffanie, which one do you see? The old woman or the young woman?
The young woman, of course.
Okay. And point out to me where the young woman's chin is. I'll do that. You can't do it with, I have the thing here. I don't know. Can you see the little, what I'm pointing to?
Yep.
Oh, good. I never know if the pointer works, but this is her chin. Mm-hmm. This is her eyelash. This is her hair. This is her bonnet or scarf, right? That's a young woman. Now, There's also another woman in this picture. It's the older woman. Do you see the older woman, Dr. Tiffany?
I do not see the older woman.
Okay. So
I
sometimes I use this as a joke with my executives as you see what you want to see. So you're seeing the young, you don't want to see the old woman.
No, I don't.
But yeah, some of my male C-suites don't appreciate that when they see the old woman. But anyways, the old woman, if you sort of change your perspective, sit back a bit and look at the same thing, and this chin becomes a nose, and here is her mouth right there, and that's her chin. So it's like a larger face. Here's her eye. So she's got a large nose, mouth. The choker becomes a mouth, and her chin.
Oh, now I see it. Now I see it. Yeah.
Okay. So I use this as an example of two people can see the exact same data, and who's right? The one that sees the old woman or the young woman? Neither one, because the same data gives you two completely different realities. So anytime I'm tempted to get into an argument with someone who doesn't see things the way that I see them, I will say, oh, I got to remember the women. I got to remember the old and the young woman, because it's a great example of, you see an accident, one person sees one thing, another person sees another. That's the reality of life and humanness. Mm-hmm. We're not always right? We do make mistakes on how we interpret the situation. So remember that. That's a great tool.
And that's why mistakes are important, because they're excellent learning opportunities. Mistakes help us to understand our own limitations and the world around us more clearly. They allow for personal growth, and responding to our mistakes effectively can lead us to self-improvement and becoming a better version of ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are so vested in being right, you're going to have a difficult time learning, growing, and expanding, which is really what we do. If you stay the same, you can be on the right track, but if you don't keep going, you're going to get run over. We're here on the planet to learn, grow, and expand. That's what we're here. And the easiest way and the most painful way is through making mistakes. So in my book, literally, 8 Ways to Happiness, we spend time, that's why the chapter is on out of control and happiness, and out of fear, out of perfectionism, right? Because if we're so trying not to make mistakes, we miss out on learning, right? So you don't want to ask a stupid question. Yeah, you may not want to ask a stupid question in front of 800 people, but you do want to ask a question if you don't understand something. And so what if you look like you're not the brightest crayon in the box? I'm sure most of the people in the class will be saying, oh, I'm so glad you asked that question, because I didn't know either. So it is very valuable. It's a skill to not be so afraid of making mistakes that you keep yourself from learning.
Absolutely. And I think when you make mistakes, it actually hones your problem solving skills, because correcting your mistakes helps us develop and strengthen our problem solving abilities. And errors can lead to more memorable learning experiences.
There was a true story. CEO called in his SVP, who had just made a decision that cost the company $2 million. Big mistake. So the SVP came in and said, I'm sure you want my resignation. Happy to give it. I'm so sorry. And the CEO looked at him and said, why would I fire you when I just invested $2 million in your learning? Now that is a good CEO. Unfortunately, most companies are not like that. You don't have a lot of incentive to admit your mistakes. But if your culture in your organization or in your family is that which people are not allowed to be, human and make some mistakes, you're going to have a difficult time because the way you don't allow yourself to make mistakes rubs off. You're not a very fun person to be around if you're constantly looking for who's to blame. This is a huge happiness robber.
Yeah, I think especially right now, everyone is on edge. And we used to have a time where we could agree to disagree, especially politically. And we need to get back to that time where we could say, okay, you believe what you believe, I believe what I believe, and let's still be friends. Can we put the kindness back in humankind? Please. It's just better that way. It really is.
It is. That's why we don't talk about politics or religion on my show. I've been very adamant about it. I got a lot of grief for not supporting certain people during the election, but I know that it's tantamount to talk about happiness, which transcends people's political beliefs. Everybody has the right to be happy 88% of the time. And if you can believe what you believe and know that you are more than your political beliefs, your religious beliefs, then I have co-hosts who I don't agree with religiously or politically, but I love all of my co-hosts, my guests, because they're more than that. And we have lost that skill. And I will be danged if we don't try to strengthen that muscle here on this show.
Absolutely. And if you've watched Dr. Marissa and I, while we align frequently, we often disagree frequently. And it's not a mistake. It's just that we often
she sees the old woman, I see the young woman, and it's the same data, and it's okay. I'm glad you brought that up, not about us necessarily, but I'm learning, just like I corrected, not that you made a mistake, but I gave you, your intention was to make me feel better when I talked about the blood clots. The impact of your particular statement was not making me feel better. It made me feel worse. And so because I love her and she loves me, and it's important that you understand where I'm coming from, I took the time to push her back a little bit to try to explain so that she would understand where I was coming from. And you saw us model that like real time, which I'm glad we did that, because that's the kind of confrontation that can help relationships and help us all through this time. Can we lovingly say what we need to say, allowing that person space to, you may not agree with it. She's a doctor. She still has that strong belief that one day I'm going to be able to do what I'm going to, but in this moment, for her to understand my implications was really important to me. And she didn't. And she stopped trying to push her point, right? Because right now, that's what I need. So there's a perfect modeling of how to make sure your intent to be loving matches your impact to be loving. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you have to meet people where they are. You cannot force your own views on people, and we need to learn to respect that. In personal lives, in political lives, in romantic lives, in everyday lives. And to not do that is a mistake or a mistake, as Dr. Marissa says.
Absolutely. final word?
So my final word, I want to end with a quote by Benjamin Franklin. And it says, "The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing." And by saying that, I think it's okay to make mistakes. They say to err is human, to forgive is divine. I think to make a mistake and to learn nothing from it is the mistake. It's okay to make mistakes. Like I started off saying, people make mistakes daily. It's okay to do that. The most important thing is that we learn from our mistakes. You're going to spend time with people you shouldn't. You're going to spend money on things that you shouldn't. You're going to prioritize things that you shouldn't. But the most important thing is that you learn from those mistakes and you fix it and reshape your priorities, reshape your monetary priorities, and hone in on the things that you love. That's my word from me to you.
Awesome. Final word for me is everybody, including you, including me, does the very best that they can with the time they have and the resources they have. So if you made a mistake in the past, there's no reason to beat yourself up because you really did with what you knew at the time. You did the best that you could. So quit beating yourself up. Quit shitting on yourself. I shouldn't have done that. Everybody does the best that they can at that time with what they knew. You know more now. That's because you learned from your mistake. Don't beat yourself up. It is a useless activity. I want you to be happy 88% of the time. The past was a learning ground. The present is a learning ground. Don't miss out on the learning, as Dr. Tiffanie said. Don't beat yourself up. Look forward and move forward with joy. That's my final word. Thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow, I'll be giving Asian Oprah giveaway tickets on Straight Talk for the Catalina Jazz Festival. One of the sponsors of the show, longtime Art Good, is so wonderful. So tune in tomorrow for Straight Talk. But today, this was lovely with Doctors in the House, with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Dr. Tiffanie, take us out.
Now go and have the best day ever.